Welcome back to MotionPic Recap. Today we're going to recap the science fiction, thriller and action movie titled, Elysium. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In the year 2154, Earth has become a polluted and extremely grim place, inhabited only by poor people. Orbiting around Earth in space is the space station Elysium, a place where all the rich live, where no disease or pollution exist. We see a boy called Max, living in an orphanage in Los Angeles, looking through a book together with a girl called Frey. The book is about Elysium, and they read that you will never become sick or old there, and Max promises that he will take them there one day. Next, a nun is seen asking Max if he has been stealing again, and he nods, saying he's saving to afford tickets to Elysium. The woman says it breaks her heart to hear that. But she says she knows he is special, and that he will do something very important one day. Many years later, Max is seen with an electronic tagging, getting ready to go to work. People are making fun of Max for having a job as he's leaving home, and kids think he's rich for having a job. While in line to get on the bus for work, officer robots walk up to him, stating he has an extensive criminal history and ask to see his backpack contents. He makes a joke, but the robots are not kidding around and push him to the ground, hitting his arm hard. But they find nothing suspicious in his bag. Next, Max gets to a hospital, where Frey suddenly appears to help him. Max is surprised she is a nurse nowadays, and she asks if he's still stealing cars, which he says he's not, telling her he has an actual job now. When she's helped him with his arm, Max asks to take her out for coffee. She's first reluctant, saying her life is complicated, but finally accepts, saying he can pick her up on Wednesday. Max then goes to work. As he arrives, his boss says he's late and that he's fired. Max then replies he got in an accident, and he's excused with a warning. He works as a robot assembler for a company called Armadine, owned by billionaire John Carlyle. In another part of the city, sick and injured people are seen getting an ID and boarding shuttles. The one who runs the shuttle operation is called Spider, who orders the shuttle liftoff, and the shuttles head for Elysium. In a large mansion on Elysium, a woman called Delacourt is having a party as she suddenly gets a message. She is the defense secretary for the space station, and is alerted that 3 undocumented ships are approaching Elysium airspace. Not long after, the shuttles make an unauthorized entry into their airspace, and they are told to turn around, which they do not. As the ships are approaching, Delacourt orders to activate a sleeping agent on Earth called Kruger. Another woman notifies her it's against the law, but she tells her to do it anyway. Agent Kruger gets the message, and on a big monitor they see him picking out a shoulder-launched missile. Kruger fires, and as the shuttles are closing in on the station, the missiles catch up with the ships and take down 2 of them. The third ship manages to dodge the last missile, and quickly lands on the surface on Elysium. A woman with her sick daughter runs towards a mansion, all while security robots arrive. The woman breaks into the house and lays the girl in a med bay that detects her illness and heals her. The healing process is just complete as robots catch them and arrest them. All of them are rounded up, and then sent back to Earth. Meanwhile on Earth, Max meets an old friend on his way home called Julio, who asks him to help him steal 5 new cars from some estate, but Max says he doesn't want to go to prison again, and continues home. The next day, Max goes to work as usual, but while working, the door to a radioactive room malfunctions. An object has caused the door to get jammed, and his boss comes up to him and says he either go in there and fix it, or he'll lose his job. Reluctantly, Max goes in to remove the object, but the door closes on him, and an automated process starts. While other workers try to bend the door open to save him, Max is exposed to a massive dose of lethal radiation. Their boss says it's too late and pushes people aside. Later, Max wakes up in the medical room at the company, and a robot tells him he will experience catastrophic organ failure and die in 5 days, giving him pills to help him function normally until then. Carlyle shows up, being irritated production stopped, and tells Max's boss to throw out Max. At the same time at Elysium, President Patel has summoned Delacourt, telling her she violated executive orders by killing 46 civilians, and that she unlawfully used a sleeper agent to do it. She then says she will do what is necessary to protect the station and all their children on it from wretches. Patel warns her and says she will be removed from office if she does anything unauthorized again. Max gets home, and his friend Julio sees he's ill and helps him to his house. He throws up, telling Julio he got exposed to radiation and only has 5 days. Max says he will go to Spider, but Julio says they don't have enough money for a ticket. Meanwhile at the hospital, Frey is seen discussing with a doctor about a sick girl, and the doctor says they can't heal her, and that Frey must take her home. Max arrives at Spider asking for a ticket. Spider says he doesn't have enough money, but Max says he will do anything to repay him. Spider then says he actually has a job for him that no one else had the courage to do. He shows Max a device that can access organic information from someone's brain, by transferring it to another person's mind. Spider says he wants Max to hijack an Elysium billionaire's mind, to access bank codes, passwords, and login data, so they can get a hold of billions and get rich. Spider sees Max is weak from the radiation exposure, and tells him he'll need an exoskeleton suit, which will make him strong as a droid. Max says he will do it, but demands that Julio gets a ticket too, and that their target will be billionaire Carlyle, CEO of Armadine. On Elysium, Carlyle arrives to meet Delacourt and renew defense contracts for the space station. They walk into an isolated room, and since Carlyle's company built the station, she asks if he can override its system, and place a new president in power. Carlyle responds that it is possible, after which Delacourt demands he does it, saying he will get a defense contract secured for the next 200 years if she becomes president. He accepts to do the coup. On Earth, Max gets an ID burnt into his arm, and is told it merges with his DNA and he will fit in like he was born on Elysium. They then begin the operation to fuse the exosuit to his body's bone structure and internal nervous system. As Max wakes up later, he has become a cyborg. Next, Carlyle is seen encrypting his cerebral information, ensuring anyone who tries to access it is killed, and then fries his computer. A woman enters, telling him his shuttle is ready, after which Carlyle heads for it. Meanwhile, Max and the others have arrived outside the facility, having prepared to shoot down Carlyle's shuttle when he takes off. As they see his vessel, Max shoots it with explosives that causes its engines to fail. Delacourt, who monitors Carlyle, sees he is in danger. She calls Agent Kruger, who she tasks to stop the thieves trying to steal sensitive brain information, and sends a military aircraft. Max and the others follow Carlyle's shuttle, which eventually crashes. They get to the crashed ship, and as they step out, 2 bodyguard droids come out defending Carlyle. Max manages to take one out using explosive bullets, and the other by hand combat, removing its head. Immediately after, they open the shuttle and begin their process of downloading information from Carlyle's brain, but when it's complete, they discover the data is scrambled. They see a military ship approaching, but when trying to run, Max's head starts hurting badly. Agent Kruger arrives and kills all but Max and Julio, who try to escape in a car. Their car is however hit with explosives, and it flips over. As Max has managed to crawl out, Kruger appears and stabs him with a knife, and as he picks up a sword to finish him off, Julio suddenly starts shooting at Kruger. Interrupted, Kruger instead goes for Julio, who can't seem to shoot him, and gets killed. Max has got a hold of a gun, and as he starts shooting, Kruger quickly powers up an energy shield and is only knocked unconscious. Max runs up to Julio, but sees he's dead, and instead begins running to escape. Delacourt discovers Carlyle has died from blood loss, and as Kruger wakes up, she notifies him that Max has the data and must be apprehended at all costs. Kruger and his men analyze his instruments at the crash site and finds out Carlyle had brain information that could reboot Elysium's whole system, figuring that's why Delacourt wants Max so badly, and they send out droids to find him. Meanwhile, Delacourt has issued a no-fly zone all over Los Angeles, and Spider suddenly sees all signals have been jammed in the city. That evening, Frey is seen walking up to the girl at the hospital they can't save, telling her she will go and get her car so she can drive her home. As she gets outside, Max suddenly calls her name, lying on the street being weak from the stab wound. Frey says she needs to take him inside, but Max says he is hunted and will get killed if anyone sees him. The following day, Max wakes up at Frey's house, who has patched him up, and the two begin talking. Suddenly, the girl, whose name is Matilda, comes out calling Frey mother. She asks who Max is, and Frey answers that Max is a friend she has known since she was as young as her. As Matilda runs off, Frey tells Max her daughter has leukemia and is dying. She begs him for his help to get her to an Elysium med bay, since she saw he has a fake citizen ID. But Max says he can't since they all would be killed if they get caught. He leaves them, but is immediately spotted by a droid outside. He starts running, and eventually throws a hard object at it, which disables the droid. Kruger sees it and orders to fly to the place immediately. Suddenly, Kruger bursts into Frey's home, saying they saw a man they are after leaving her home, and they are both taken to the ship. Meanwhile, Max arrives at Spider's facility, demanding to get a ride to Elysium before he dies. Spider upset says they are jammed and can't even start their shuttles. He continues saying that, if the information in his head is so important that they contain a whole city, they better try to take a look at what it is. They connect Max to a computer, and Spider discovers Max has a reboot program for Elysium in his head, which can override Elysium's whole system. Max says he has only hours left to live, and will use the information to bribe his way up there. He leaves, and goes back to the disabled droid to get Kruger's attention. Kruger sees it and goes to him immediately. When they have landed, Max holds a grenade, saying that, if they try something, he will blow up his head. Max then continues saying he will give them his brain information if they fly him up to Elysium, and Kruger accepts, leading him on board. As Max gets inside, he sees they have taken Frey and Matilda. Kruger informs Delacourt Max is apprehended, and she orders to cancel the no-fly zone. Spider is suddenly back online, and they begin tracking Max through a tracker on his exosuit. They see he's being taken to Elysium, and Spider orders his men to get their weapons to follow him in a shuttle. Not long after, Max and the others arrive to Elysium, and Max tells Frey he's sorry. Suddenly Kruger and another man attack Max, and the fight causes the pilot to lose control of the ship, which starts spinning. Max accidentally drops his grenade, and it blows up Kruger's face, as well as takes out the ship's engines. The ship crash lands in a suburban area. Delacourt sees everything play out on a monitor, and orders everyone in the ship to be apprehended. Max wakes up, who immediately goes to open the ship, and then climbs up to assist Frey get loose, who is stuck in her seat. While Frey takes Matilda and runs out with her to get to a med bay in a nearby mansion, Max starts fighting the two men who are also waking up. Max gets tased, and one man follows Frey into the building. Since Matilda has no citizen ID, the machine will not help her. The man finds them, and Frey asks for his help to save her daughter who has gone into a coma, but he just tases her. Some time later, Max wakes up seeing Delacourt asking technicians if the data is intact, to which they respond it is, but that Max will be killed if they extract it. Delacourt says it is of no consequence, and adds they should get Frey and Matilda out of the room, after which she leaves. At the same time, Spider and his crew are landing on Elysium, having managed to arrive in one piece. They see where Max is, and heads for him. Simultaneously, Kruger's two men take Frey and Matilda away, and lock them up in a room. They also see that Kruger's brain is intact, and put Kruger in a med bay. He gets healed, and he wakes up. Meanwhile, Max manages to get loose and knocks the two scientists down. He asks them where Frey and Matilda were taken, which they tell him, and he takes one of their access cards. Delacourt suddenly walks in on Kruger and angrily tells him they might both get hanged for treason, since he didn't handle this like he should. Kruger turns around and stabs Delacourt in her neck, and then throws her into the room with Frey. All while Frey tries to save Delacourt, Kruger tells his two guys to get rid of the politicians in the building, and then says he will find Max and crush him. Next, we see Kruger's men throwing grenades at politicians and Elysium officers, killing them. Not long after, Max finds a devastated control room, and sees Frey and Matilda on a big monitor, as well as Spider and his crew on another. He picks up a communication device, asking if Spider can hear him, which he does. Max then asks if the reboot program in his head can make everybody citizens, and Spider responds that it can. He then tells Spider a plan, after which Max heads for the room where Frey is. Kruger has put on an exosuit, and tells one of his men to get rid of Frey and Matilda, after which he goes to find Max. The man enters the room where Frey is, but has no time to do anything before Max appears and starts beating him to death. Suddenly, Kruger's other man appears shooting at him. Max picks up a heavy gun and manages to shoot the other man as well. He then leads Frey out of the room and to an elevator. He tells Frey they must split up, saying she must go up to the surface and find a med bay. Frey says Matilda doesn't have an ID and that it won't work, but Max assures her he will fix it. She wants him to follow, but he activates the elevator for her, promising he will be right behind her. As the door closes, Max suddenly hears Kruger yelling somewhere close. Suddenly, a door opens, but it's not Kruger, it's Spider and his crew. Max tells Spider to send a man to help Frey get to a med bay, and Spider does as he asks. They head for Elysium's core systems room, but suddenly Kruger finds them, who manages to kill Spider's men. Max and Spider try to escape by closing a door behind them, but Kruger catches the door. At that same second, Max's head hurts again, and Kruger manages to get through, jumping over the duo to stand in their way. Kruger then attacks, and Max tries to defend himself from him. Spider jumps on Kruger, who drops his sword, which falls off the platform. Kruger stabs Spider's hand with a knife, and goes after Max again. The two fight, and Kruger seems to have the upper hand. Spider gets loose from the knife in his hand, and runs to hack the door to the systems room to open it. Max and Kruger are still fighting, and Kruger manages to stab him. As Kruger mentions that he is letting down that little girl by being so weak, Max enraged jumps at him, and manages to remove his neural link to his exosuit. Since Kruger now is weak, Max gets the upper hand. But suddenly Kruger straps himself to Max, and picks up a hand grenade to blow them both up. In the nick of time, Max however manages to free himself and throws Kruger off the platform. Spider manages to open the door, and the two enter. They close doors behind them, trapping Elysium officers trying to stop them outside. They reach Elysium's core system, and Max connects his brain. Meanwhile, Frey has successfully managed to get to a house and put Matilda in a med bay. Spider successfully connects Max to the system, and tells Max that no med bay will be able to heal him once the program is activated, handing Max the control to reboot the system. Max contacts Frey through a device, saying he is sorry but that he can't keep his promise he gave at the elevator, but that she hopefully will forgive him since he kept the promise he gave when they were young, having got them to Elysium. She gets sad, and as Max is thinking of them as kids, he activates the program and reboots the system. The Elysium officers and President Patel break open the door and manage to get inside the room. As they are arresting Spider, a countdown starts for the system reboot, and suddenly, the whole ship powers down. Soon after, it powers up again, and the system adds new citizens to its database. Frey sees the med bay activating and starting to heal Matilda, who quickly wakes up, and Frey is extremely happy. But suddenly, army droids appear at the system's room, arresting the Elysium officers. As President Patel orders the droids to arrest Spider instead, they respond that they can't arrest a citizen of Elysium, and Patel is baffled. The Elysium system suddenly detects new citizens on Earth needing medical attention, sending down big medical ships to help heal them. People run to the ships, and droids start helping them get rid of their illnesses and injuries. In the last scene, we see Frey looking up at the magnificent view of Earth above her, remembering all the fun moments that she and Max shared together, a long time ago. The end. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this, and hit the like button to help us out. Until next time, take care.